Hello guys, it's 899 here and welcome to today's video. And today I'm going to be answering for my sins as we look back at my ladder predictions for the 2025 season and see how well or terribly that I went. These were released on the 20th of January of this year, and we're just gonna jump straight into it and see how well or how bad I went. Starting off with the wooden spoon for the 2025 NRL season, I think the Parramatta Eels will get the wooden spoon. So, yeah, we're starting early, aren't we? Basically, the Parramatta Eels coming into the wooden spoon was, I feel like in terms of like a bunch of clubs at the beginning of the year, they were one of the main ones because like a bunch of players that left, they've got a brand new coach, but they proved wrong. They did actually all right. They had a very all right year. I mean, they did have spells where they weren't too great, but Moses and Lomax starting to prove to be pretty darn all right, as well as that Okar. In 16th place, I have gone with the West Tigers. Yeah, leading into this year, I definitely felt like, because the last couple of years, I predicted that the Tigers wouldn't get the spoon, but then they still would. But I was pretty confident they weren't going to. I did say 16th, and honestly, they're playing a lot better than 16th, in all honesty. They end up finishing just outside of the top 4 on points difference. And in complete honesty, they are a club that is definitely on the up. But it's definitely positive signs for the Tigers. And honestly, I can definitely see them challenging for the top 8 next year. Kind of alongside Parramatta, because next year's ladder probably going to be very close. In 15th place, I've gone with the New Zealand Warriors. This is probably pound for pound the worst one. Yeah, I just thought with the amount of players that the Warriors had left, and then I think it was like very much before the season started, Tohu Harris retired. I just thought the Warriors would kind of just fall to the wayside as other teams would be in a very close battle for the final spots. But nope, they came. They were in the top 4 for a considerable margin, but then they kind of shafted their momentum in the most easy way to say it, and then they still came 6th. But then they lost in their first round of the finals to Penrith. But yeah, I mean, definitely a lot higher than 15th. In 14th place, I've gone with the Canberra Raiders. So, Canberra Raiders editors or montage makers, there's your clip. Put it in your montages. To be completely honest, I'm surprised it wasn't included because, yeah, obviously Canberra were going to be minor premiers. But here's the thing. A reason why I say the Warriors one is pound for pound the worst compared to this one is that nobody had Canberra in the top 4, let alone getting the minor premiership. The only people that had that were mentalists, and now we've validated them. But yeah, Canberra obviously had a great season, you know, becoming minor premiers, and they charged that momentum by shitting it in the finals. In 13th place, and this is the one I'm going to get yelled at the most, I've gone with South Sydney. South Sydney, anytime, I feel like in terms of the predictions I made at the time, putting South 13th was one of the ones that got them all like, what are you on about type of thing. And I just thought, yeah, I just don't think they're going to be that high up the ladder. Everyone was expecting, they've got all their players fresh back. They've got Lewis Dodd coming in. They're going to be pushing up. And then, obviously, I wasn't expecting them to have probably the worst injury crisis they've ever had as a club. But, yeah, I just wasn't that confident they were going to make the finals. In 12th place, I have gone with my team, the Newcastle Knights. Yeah, the prediction with the Knights is kind of, I still very much like back it, but obviously the Knights had a bit of a form spell that eventually saw them become wooden spooners. Off-contract situation wasn't that great either, which is like, well, we're currently looking at our top 30. Forward pack, non-existent a little bit, but I do think that the Knights should improve. Like, I don't know if we're going to get out of the bottom 4, but I don't think we'll get the wooden spoon. Hopefully, because, I mean, if we do, oh boy. I'm starting to like the way the Knights are looking forward from 2025, so there is some improvement. 11th place, I've gone with the Gold Coast Titans. Yeah, for some reason, I always overestimate the ability of the Gold Coast Titans. Like, I think it's like on paper they've got a decent team, but now, yeah, it's going to be quite interesting going into next year. There's obviously a lot of talks about what's going to happen with Tino Vasua-Malawi, because currently at the moment, it looks like he's leaving, but we don't know. David Fafita has left, which I feel like it's going to be one of those, we actually do miss him a little bit. So, I think the Titans are probably going to stick around in like that similar bottom 4 positioning, looking at it from this point in November. But I mean, I don't hate the Gold Coast Titans. I generally don't. It's like, I actually don't mind them. They've got a lot of good young players. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of questions that are going to need to be answered about what this team's going to look like in 2026.
10th place, I've gone with the Sydney Roosters.
Yeah, basically that was the big rhetoric going into that season with the Roosters, was obviously it being a rebuild. But yeah, they obviously made the finals, and they did get bounced out within the first week though. But they still made the finals, which is a good achievement. Now going into next year, I feel like it's going to be a bit of a similar thing that happens in the last couple of years, where it's like, oh, they've got Daly Cherry Evans. Everyone now thinks they're immediately a title challenging contender, but it's happened a couple of times with the Roosters about, it's like, oh, they signed one player, everyone thinks they're going to ball out, and then they don't exactly. It's like, oh, sign Brandon Smith, we're going to ball out. Yeah, did all right. Oh, Dom Young, we're going to ball out. It's like, and now obviously with DCE coming in, I mean, it's like, I just hope this doesn't continue the trend of them keep signing old halfbacks. So it's like, oh, we're challenging for a premiership now, because that's kind of been, I think, one of their little issues that they kind of need to think, because they need to get some young blood in there. It's like a Sam Walker in there, you know.
9th place, and I have gone with the North Queensland Cowboys.
Yeah, Cowboys were a bit weird. It's like they had an alright start to the year, and then they just kind of capitulated in a monstrous case. It's just, yeah, they weren't too hot, were they? But they did end up picking it up slightly, coming into 12th. Dearden's absolutely stepped up massively. You got Drinkwater. You still have very good players, but it's just a bunch of their core leaving was a little bit how you going. But I do think the Cowboys should be all right for next year. I think they should be able to, you know, bump it up a little bit.
Now we move into the top 8, and in 8th place, the Dolphins making their first final season.
Yeah, Dolphins in the top 8. It's like last year they were right on the knocking door. They had to win the final game of the season against the Knights to come 8th. They didn't. Then this year was basically a very similar situation, but unfortunately they won their game, but the Roosters belted south, so the Roosters took 8. So it's just a bit, it's unfortunate, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how the Dolphins do go next year. Whether or not they're challenging for the finals, I'm not too sure. But yeah, it's like I keep getting close with the Dolphins.
7th place, and I've gone with the St. George Illawarra Dragons.
Yeah, the Dragons being 7th, I thought was going to be, it's like, oh, the players they brought in, Gutherson, Valentine Holmes, is like, oh, they're going to click, they're going to cook, they're absolutely going to cook. And then you had the whole Kyle Flanagan saga, and I feel like if the club focused on performing better than banning creators from social media platforms, they might have done a bit better. But I don't know, it's just, the Dragons are a very hard team to kind of figure out what's going on. They're a bit of a mystery. They're an enigma down at Wollongong. Obviously coming 15th, but I don't even think they were that bad. Like, nearly all of their games, they lost by like plus 12 and also had decent performances. I just think, like, if just the coin flipped the other way a couple of occasions, they could have been challenging for the final. So, yeah, who knows.
In 6th place, I have gone with the Manly Seagulls.
I thought from all the teams that were in sort of like that bottom half of the top 8, I thought the Manly were going to be very consistent and stick with it. Unfortunately, there were just a bunch of other teams that were performing better as they finished 10th. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how Manly will go next year with Fogarty leading the charge rather than, what's his name, DCE being the main halfback at Manly. It's going to be quite interesting. I don't really see Manly making the finals next year, but I'd like to be proven wrong, but it's just that they might falter a little bit.
In 5th place, I have gone with the Brisbane Broncos.
One of the big things I did talk about when it came to Brisbane is about them needing to get rid of like the boys club mentality that they kind of had, because I was a little concerned that Maguire was going to get micromanaged a little bit, because Brisbane can be a little bit like that. But yeah, I mean, they came 4th, so I was not that far off, and they obviously went on to win the premiership. So yeah, they've done really well, despite most of their players getting absolutely bung-ass injured.
In 4th place, and now this is another one that was mentioned in the bold predictions video, but 4th place, I have the Canterbury Bulldogs.
This was actually another one that was getting a lot of questions, like, you're seriously putting the Bulldogs top 4? And it's like, yeah, I just liked in the second half of the year how they were playing in 2024, and they just got up really and had that good charge. And yeah, I mean, they were one of the best teams in the competition. I mean, obviously the finals ended up not going as well for them. They obviously lost to Melbourne and then lost to Penrith, but I mean, the signs are there. I just think that genuinely, if they could just tweak the consistencies just a little, they could. I think they'll remain in the top 4. Maybe challenge for the minor premiership, just maybe. But yeah, I definitely think that the Dogs are in a very good position at the moment.
Third place, and this one is going to be interesting. I have Penrith.
Obviously, no one really foresaw the Penrith kind of having a bit of a bad spell to start the year, which I'm actually now convinced under the conspiracy theory that Penrith sold on purpose just for the sole reason of them to win the premiership outside of the top 4. Just saying, get your tinfoil hats out. But yeah, Penrith obviously making that big charge. I just thought they were going to hang around there for a lot, but just didn't really happen. But yeah, well, it wasn't too bad at all.
Second place, I have gone with another one, which I think is people are going to be questioning why, is the Cronulla Sharks.
The Sharks definitely had really good spells. I mean, they had a pretty decent finals run. It's like they kind of beat that finals buffer. They beat the Roosters at home, and then they beat Canberra in the semi-finals, and they only were just eventually edged out by Melbourne, and it's just... Yeah, I think Cronulla had a really decent year. I think, obviously, I was a few positions off them from being correct, but I just think if they keep it on going. Obviously, Mulatalo being out with his foot is going to be a bit of a problem, but I definitely see the Sharks making the finals next year.
And last but not least, definitely not least, is we come to who I think will be the minor premiers for this year, and I think it's pretty obvious. It's the Melbourne Storm.
Yeah, there we go. We've had the Storm as the minor premiers. Of course, they came second because Canberra beat them to it. But yeah, I mean, very strong year for the Storm. But then again, had a pretty decent run through the finals. Won their game against the Dogs in three very physical finals games. Obviously, being the first week, the prelim and the grand final. But just unfortunately, Brisbane brought the momentum to come back in the second half. And yeah, Brisbane got the job done. It'll be interesting to see how the Storm will go in terms of how their recruitment will be for coming into the start of next year, especially with Pappenhausen now leaving. It's going to be interesting to see how they go. I still think the Storm make the finals. Wherever they'll be, I'm not too sure. But there we go. That is my ladder predictions review. I probably didn't do too well, but how did you guys go? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.